Take a look at the home screen of your smartphone. Apart from the hundreds of notifications that I'm sure you have on your phone too, what else do you notice? Take a second and glance at the icons if that might give you a hint. If you're like the average user, then you use apps from one of the two major companies, Facebook and Google. In particular, Facebook owns some of the most popular apps, including Messenger, Instagram, and WhatsApp, in addition to Facebook itself. When you notice that when you search for something online and ads for that thing start popping up everywhere, perhaps you won't be as surprised by that anymore. Do you get the nagging feeling that everything you say, even casual conversations about the new pair of Nikes that you have with your friends, are being snooped on? Then your hunch might just be right. For both of these companies, advertising is the biggest source of revenue. And what better way to target you with ads than by knowing exactly what you want and when you want it? In some parts of the world, facial recognition technology has become commonplace to the point where you can be automatically fined for having jaywalked. Though these systems are not without their flaws. For example, in China, merely having your face on the side of a bus can lead you to being sent a citation as the bus crosses the street. But there are more serious problems with the use of such systems as well. The persecution of Uyghurs in China, limiting their freedom to move around, and constant monitoring of their activities is courtesy of facial recognition technology. While you might see some AI systems with physical artifacts around you, like cameras on the streets, most of them linger hidden away in the fabric of our digital and physical society, in our interactions with each other, through who comes up on our Facebook and Twitter feeds, and what we buy on Amazon and watch on Netflix. It also shows up when you apply to jobs and might not be selected because of your gender, even when you have the same qualifications as others in the candidate pool. It can also show up as people are processed through our judicial systems, our healthcare systems, our immigration systems, and many more areas where it has a significant impact on our lives. This invisible hand of AI has the potential to alter how we live our lives, sometimes to our knowledge, but most of the times without it. So what can we do to regain control? Civic competence to the rescue. It is this idea that the broad populace builds up an understanding in the area of AI, how it works, what it requires to function, and who are the people who are building and deploying these systems. Civic competence is important because it will aid us in finding and fighting the places where AI systems are violating social norms, invading our privacy, intruding on our freedoms, and overextending into our lives. Basically, helping us get back control before we all just become mindless cogs who are nudged into buying things that the machine tells us to buy and watching things that the machine tells us to watch. These systems are becoming more and more widely deployed, which means we have a narrow window to act on, not only building up an understanding of where, how, and who these systems work for, but also, and perhaps more importantly, it is an instrument to take us back to the fundamentals of a well-functioning society. The use of civic competence as a counterweight to the prevalence of AI is a fairly new idea, so you will find some resources that will help you get started. But by the end of this talk, I hope that you will be able to walk away with a simple three-step framework through which you can equip yourself with the right knowledge to spot and raise concerns right away. I believe that imbibing a simple childlike curiosity might just be the answer. Remember the days when you used to bother your parents with persistent why questions? Or perhaps your children are doing the same to you now. Well, this is quite similar. When you see a shiny new feature in an app or some other novel system around you that seems to offer new capabilities, try and ask the following three questions. Does this use AI? Does it serve me or the creator? Could it do better? The first question helps to gain an understanding of whether the system is even using AI in the first place. Remember that quote from Arthur C. Clarke, the science fiction author? Sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. We want to make sure we are able to pull back the curtain from this proverbial magic trick and actually gain insight into whether something is using AI. These can be systems like when you call your bank and no longer have to press buttons to get to the right customer service agent, but you can just speak out the problems that you're facing. And it does all of that for you in the background. This is an AI system that employs voice recognition and natural language understanding to figure out your intent and direct you to the appropriate support agent rather than having to navigate through those pesky menu options. Next, asking whether this is something that is serving you or the creator is one of the most powerful questions that you can ask in this three-step process. You know how Amazon, for the most part, finds you just the right product to buy? Sometimes, even when you don't know that you had a need or desire to buy something, might also nudge you with exciting offers that have an urgent timer on a great deal that is just about to expire, coercing you into clicking the buy button. This is a recommender system in action, designed to entice you into parting with as much money as possible. Fairly clear who stands to win here. And finally, ask this: can the system do better? Is there a way that the system can be redesigned so that it limits the exploitation of the user? When showing you videos on YouTube that you like, taking us down different rabbit holes, is there a way that it can show you counter opinions as well, so that you get a balanced understanding of the issues, be those political or otherwise? These three questions are a great starting point to build civic competence. They're not meant to make you an AI expert overnight, just as your children don't become astronomers after asking you a few questions about the solar system. The point is that it helps us unearth motives and figure out if the systems are actually aligned with what we want them to achieve for us. The goal with this idea of utilizing civic competence so that we are all equipped with the right knowledge and skills to spot and raise concerns is so that we can move the locus of power and action away from large corporate actors to ourselves, the individuals on the ground whose lives are being affected directly and whose interests might not always be adequately addressed by the people building and deploying these systems. So, ask your parents, ask your children, ask your neighbors, ask your colleagues. Ask strangers on the street if you're comfortable with that, and compare answers across all these people. Give them something to think about and build up your own understanding of how AI systems work, so that the next time you feel awed by how cool it is that Netflix knows what you want to watch next, you can pause and ask, is it serving me or am I serving it? Let's take our visible hand, powered with civic competence, and steer the invisible hand of AI towards getting AI systems to serve us rather than us serving them. Thank you.